Hello, and welcome to Season 2 of Super Pros Bros. I'm Player 2, Eli, and with me, as always, is...
Player 1, Ike. And, Brovolo and Cheese, did you know that this pod is on YouTube, SoundCloud, and Spotify?
Holy shit! I did not protein shake. That is the same place as these good people could like,
Comment,
share,
and subscribe.
Oh, it sure is. Don't worry about it. It's fine. No one knows. Shut the fuck up, it's early. I'm tired. I've been awake half an hour. We're
we
going
are
hard.
recording very early because I did a cool thing and top 8 at a tournament that plays out for some reason at 9 a.m. Pacific time. It's because it's on the East Coast, but still it's kind of weird that it plays out on a different day. And my brohammer here is willing to be awesome and record early. So thank you, bro. And if it sounds like there's any amount of expediency in anything I say today, it's because we've got an hour and a half to record this before my tournament starts.
We are coming in hot under the wire.
What's been going on with you recently?
Not a great deal. My life has been pretty fucking tame recently. Do have good developments for my spouse. She got into a program she wanted to at Portland State University.
Woo! Wait,
yeah.
But you live in Seattle.
That's true. So her first semester, she managed to make online courses. There's a chance that we are looking at moving to Portland. Continuing, also because she's kind of not the biggest fan of this city since she's actively suing people in this city. You know, kind of warps a bit of her perception.
Sure.
No, fair. So, we'll see. As I continue to try and haggle with management to see if I need to change my job or not, because
you're trying to do like
they are dumb.
Remote.
Yeah, like I figure if there's any time I'm going to leverage it, I'm basically the only person in my position, and I've been there 5 years, so it's like if there's ever a chance I'm going to get leverage and manage to push it, it's this chance.
Yeah.
And it sounds like they're still going to be fucking idiots about it and give the unreasonable rationalization of because I said so.
Yeah.
Which is something you can do with children, and I am a fucking almost a 30-year-old man and not a child.
What?
So crazy.
I thought you were still like a little 13-year-old bro.
No, sorry. That ship fucking sailed.
Well, I hope they unfuck themselves or you find a as good, if not better, job so that this becomes a lot easier for you.
Yeah. I hate job hunting. I don't love my job, but it's consistent, easy, and reliable. So what are you going to do?
Yeah. Well, I got a haircut yesterday. That's what I was going to do yesterday. So went and got a haircut. Thankfully, the barber that I went to, which is this adorable old Korean couple whose place is rightfully named Bonnie and Sam's. And it is a man named Sam and his wife named Bonnie, and they are adorable. They also now recognize me by my phone number, and so I don't have to like say who it is. They're like, "Oh, hello," and they're broken English, which I mean, old Korean, fresh off the boat couple. I do not expect them to speak English, and don't really give a shit. They cut great hair for a very reasonable price, and they're sweet. So fuck her. But went in for an early cut yesterday because I was gonna get my hair cut this afternoon after we recorded, but then I top aided this tournament. Gasp! So yeah, I had to move some stuff around. Went and got my hair cut and feeling nice and crisp. Got that like that little like nice prickle when you get like a nice close haircut. I love that feeling. Especially like I was walking around. I was like slightly cool with a little bit of a breeze yesterday. Oh, it's the best. It's so much free cocaine. I just love it. It's like, oh yeah.
Not to be confused with paid for cocaine. Big fan of that one too. Throw that out there.
Other than that, I mean, I guess we haven't recorded since this last happened. I don't think. Maybe we did. Or no, we did, right? We recorded last weekend.
Yeah, recorded previous.
Okay, yeah. So, well, so I recorded then. So the day before we recorded, I top aided a tournament. It was the first time in a long time. That was sweet. We recorded. Then I played a tournament. Top aided that one too. So, and then top aided this one. So I'm on what you would call a roll.
Hang on, a heater.
You can call me butter because I'm on a roll, baby. That's an old joke that people used to make at my first dealing job. It's so stupid, but I kind of love it.
Wow. It's way too early for that shit. I'm never gonna financially recover from this.
Speaking of financially recovering, though, I did go into. Huge proponent of AAA. The fact, I don't know if you know this, but if you have a AAA card, you don't have to go to the DMV for a lot of stuff. They have AAA offices where you can go do DMV stuff for, I think, the exact same price and deal with considerably less bullshit because it's AAA peeps instead of DMV peeps. And there's a lot less riffraff around, not to
government
diminish.
mandated misery.
Yeah, it's like actually well paid. The people are super nice, and there's just a lot less people. So you go in, like yesterday, I'm in Pasadena. That's a pretty big metropolitan area. I go in at closing, walk up. There's nobody in line. I go, hey, can I, talk to somebody about doing this and that? They're like, oh, of course. And they look at, they check my AAA card and they go, have a seat, you'll be called. I was like on the screen or, and then she just kind of like walked away. I was like, okay. And I sat down and like a second later, somebody's like, Isaac? And just looked over and sees me and goes, come on up, please. And just like super nice, hey, I paid for, like I was willing to repay for my registration so I just had the sticker. I was like, hey, I paid for it. Is anyway? They're like, oh yeah, we can print you off a sticker. Double check the file. Yeah, we see it right here. What else do you need to do? I was like, I'd like to change my address. They're like, oh yeah, we can do that. I was like, fucking A. And just like took seconds. They're like, just fill out these forms, come back. Filled them out, got done, got out the door, boom. I was like, fucking yeah. Like, this place, oh my god. AAA for life, baby. Worth it. And this comes free, by the way, with just paying for their roadside assistance. That's all I'm paying for. It's not like a super membership. I'm literally paying for a thing that, in my estimation, is worth $100. Of everything security of, like, if something bad happens, you can call them, and the problems will be fixed pronto at basically no cost. So it's like, yeah. And this comes with it? Hell yes.
All right.
Yeah. Big fan.
Out of the land of reality. Fuck we talking about, Isaac?
We're talking about what pulls us out of unreality, or fiction, in tropes specifically. Couple good examples that we are not going to be doing for reasons that we'll be stating. One, autism isn't a superpower. That pulls me out of fiction. However, I understand why people do it, because in some cases, for some people in certain circumstances, it is. But it's been used too blatantly and across the board.
People too often conflate general fucking run-of-the-mill autism, I don't have a better way to describe it, I'm firing from the hip, with savant syndrome. They're not the same fucking thing. I think it's 1% of people with autism have some kind of semblance of savant syndrome. It's the outlier. It's not the fucking rule.
Yep.
Yeah, that was just silly.
Yeah. Next up, we got...
I'd say gun realism is kind of goofy. When you have a 48 round magazine and a Glock, that's a hard no there, buddy.
Yeah. But I think that one is like this is one of the reasons I think I kind of put it in this category, and I hope you agree that while either a dropped gun going off,
every explosion turns into a fireball.
Every explosion is a fireball. The good guys don't fall over, or if they do, they get up like really quickly. It's not like a big deal. Shooting a lock to knock it off. This is one of those things where it's wrong, but at the same time, most of these movies that this in are action movies, and they want to look cool.
Yeah,
and that's an easy way to look cool.
A lot of things keep the flow going, and it isn't just. Oftentimes, there's enough happening that it's easy to quickly look past.
Yeah.
Just because something else will flash, you'll go full magpie and go, ooh, look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And lastly on our counts, but we're not going to count it, is waiting 24 hours to file a missing persons report. Under most circumstances, you don't have to do that. Sadly, too many people think that, which has led to some cop difficulties because of movies. It's one of the reasons we're bringing it up here. But you don't actually have to wait 24 hours. If it is a child, if it is an elder, if you have very strong reason to believe that they have been abducted or otherwise do not leave on their own volition, you can file a missing persons report pretty immediately. So don't let your loved ones got for an extra 23 hours. into our main segment. What you got up first, Broskinkowski? What pulls you out of your fictional experience?
As somebody who loves a good fist fight, when people don't take damage, like, stop it. Like, fist fights are bloody.
It's hardly an inconvenience.
It's super easy, barely an inconvenience. God, I love pitch meeting. No, like if there's anything where like there's prolonged fights or battles or something, and there's not some kind of like general wear and tear. Like if people get punched in the face, skin breaks, skin bruises, stuff like that, and it's exhausting. Being beaten, not just throwing punches, but being beaten is exhausting. And there's too many.
Said from someone from personal experience.
Yes, I've. So for the really quick context, for my black belt test, I basically got the shit kicked out of me for about an hour and a half.
Can confirm.
I didn't fucking move for the next 2 days. Like I barely got.
He didn't eat dinner.
Like I got my jaw dislocated. I couldn't eat. You know how shitty it is to go to a buffet and not be able to eat when you're fucking ravenous?
And then pass out in a plate of chow mein. I don't know if you remember that.
I did
you
not.
You totally got this big old plate to
out.
eat. You got this big old plate to eat, tried to eat, couldn't, were sad, and just kind of looked at the plate for a while, and then you were face down on the plate for a while.
I really know.
Poof. It was great.
I was so tired.
Yeah, you were.
I got the fuck beat out of me. Yeah, I basically
just... It was a gauntlet.
I needed help to get up the next day. Like, I had to literally call my mom, like, Mom, I literally can't unbend my legs. Like, they basically fucking stiffened. Like, I had goddamn tetanus.
Yeah.
Getting beaten takes a fucking toll. And there's a lot of people, like, take the shit beat out of them, they just pop up and walk it off. I'm like, no! Incorrect. Stop it.
They are making good headroads in this with like Atomic Blonde and the John Wick movies,
yes.
where while they are still dialed up, but like the guy staggers. You see him bloody, you see him hurt.
Yes,
his tactics change.
There's a lot of things. I think I would agree. Generally, I think a lot of things are getting better about it. There's a lot of just like less Man of Steel syndrome.
Yeah.
I would agree. But still, when I see it, it's like, God, no. Stop it. What about you?
Well, I was going to say, if you don't mind me stopping you.
Oh, please.
The one I've got up is the drop the gun or I'll shoot her. When bad guy has good guy's girlfriend at gunpoint and good guy has gunpoint at her or at him. It's like, yeah, like I understand the circumstance, but especially when it's like law enforcement or somebody that should know better and has been in that circumstance before, bounty hunter, vigilante, superhero, they'll drop the gun, and they do, and they don't have like the plan a la Boardwalk Empire. Like if you want to see a great like,
oh my God, yes,
flip reverse of that, there's a scene in I think it's like season 2 or 3 of Boardwalk Empire.
It's towards the end of season 3.
Towards the end of season 3, okay.
Right?
Where a guy is like, drop the gun or I'll kill him. He's like, okay. And then he kind of does a feint.
Johnny,
and like,
close your eyes.
Close your eyes.
Such a fucking gnarly
Haro,
scene.
you fucking goat. But so many times it's done without a plan. It's like, well, okay, I'm going to pacify the bad guy. It's like, that's not training. That's not smart. Stop it. Just no, like, that's not how that works.
Also, drop instead of like you just lower it. Like I understand if you lower it to try and like de-escalate the situation, but yeah, like I'm not setting it all the way on the ground. Like I will not point it at you so we can talk.
Yeah.
But like I'm still gonna hold it. Like I gotta hold it while you're holding yours. Like they never try and make it a mutual exchange. They just blatantly comply. It's like no, you don't give something for nothing.
I want to see a scene in a movie where somebody does that and they go, thanks, and they just shoot him in the head and leave.
Yeah.
Like, it's like you're giving up all leverage. You have nothing.
Yeah.
Like, they have all of the cards now. It's so stupid.
Yeah, like, if you're gonna do it, you gotta get something for something. You don't give something for nothing. Like that's...
Or, like, I've seen it as, like, in the Richard Haro thing or other movies where it's, like, a kind of a bait or a feint.
Sure. Where there's a plan. Okay.
Yeah, there's a plan. It's fine.
Fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then it's calculated. And it's not
exactly.
giving something for nothing.
Yeah.
You're baiting. Yeah.
Yep.
Fair.
Exactly.
All right.
What do we got up next, bro?
I hate if you're gonna make. All right.
I hate woman. I hate.
For everybody who knows Patton Oswalt shit inside and out, you're welcome. Everyone else, sorry to confuse you. Again, it's early. I'm punchy. If you are gonna tout up a bad guy, if you're gonna make some big fucking bad, like the boogeyman of your world, don't make him a bitch. I feel like this happens too many times where, like, the main character is just Jesus. Like, and you just, this big baddie is beaten effectively by some fucking no-name. I hate it. I really, it's just like, why is he this thing of legend if Joe Blover can kick his ass? Yeah. Like, how did he get this reputation if shitheels like us can beat him? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. It's also like, I get it under certain circumstances where you want to do like a bait and switch, but it leaves a really bad feeling. It's up there with the bait and switch of "It Was All a Dream." It's like, you motherfucker.
Yeah.
It's like, I came here wanting Darth Vader, and I got the Mandarin a la Iron Man 3.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Yeah. That also comes with extra layers of fuck you. Feels like they just kind of flipped off their audience, like, hey, we know this is Iron Man's really cool villain.
Yeah.
No.
It was cool in an academic writing sense. The full deal
execution did not match its intent. But like, there's actually a very good example. I finally, Artemis and I kind of powered through Edge Runners the last 2 days because finally got around to watching that as a couple. Anyway, and they have like the boogeyman, and I was a little worried that I'm like, is he just gonna no, he does not, and I was so happy. He just fucking cleans house. It's brutal. But like, they talk up Adam Smasher, and it's not a contest. It's like, oh yeah, he's just the boogeyman, and there's a good reason for it. It's like, yeah, you haven't seen him on screen because he kills everything else that is with him on screen. Oh, yeah. Oh, right. Gotcha. Neat. So, I like when it's done right. I hate when it's done wrong.
Well, speaking of things done wrong, concussions. They are so whole cloth presented, factually incorrect, to the point where it's also affected people in real life, which is really sad in many different ways. But turns out concussions, giving them, not easy. And when you do give them, it doesn't work out the way it is shown on television. They don't like pass out, wake up fine, and go, oh, why'd you do that? They go, who are you? Where am I? What is English? Like, they just, like, you have shaken their Etch-a-Sketch, and what remains is to be determined. Also, sometimes they just die.
Yeah, alright, like, so there is, I know about this one from experience, and from some research. So there's also, like, gradients of concussion. Like, it's actually not that hard to give a concussion. However, there are minor concussions. You get them in sports like football constantly. Mm-hmm. And most of the time, you can kind of shake them off. Your body is pretty resilient. However, big fucking concussions, like where you get hit upside the head with like a 2x4 and black out, oh, those are the kind where you wake up and for an hour, you don't know what time zone you're in. Like, if you talk with anybody who's played football and somebody just got fucking hit really hard and they seem wrong somehow, that's what we're talking about. Where you are basically, you get delirium for like an hour or two, and you basically become someone with dementia because your brain doesn't know where it is because it's swelled. If someone ever gets knocked out cold, not from being choked, but from being punched, that person needs a neurologist. Like, they are fucked up. If you fall over or stumble, you have a mild concussion, probably. If you get blacked out, you're fucked. You need help.
Story checks out.
Yeah. Sorry. Sorry. I just
No,
like
no, no.
I,
You're absolutely correct. But it's just one of those things that I didn't realize it was that easy. But it's only like
yeah.
it's just the way it's like doled out as if they're all that, especially considering some of the times what people get hit with is like, yeah, that's not the end result.
Yeah.
And like there's a couple of fun times where comedies have played with it. Like American Dad has an episode where they're just like giving out concussions left, right, and center, and kind of playing with the idea that like, yeah, this isn't good for you, and they're mentioning facts about it. It's pretty great. But yeah, by and large, it's just one of those things that is like to, and like you make a good point. It's one of those ones that's easy to fix. Instead of giving concussions, show people choking other people out, because that is a way that you can put somebody to sleep, right? And have
Mhm.
very little effect, and they will wake up being like, "Oh, what the fuck," and not like, "Who are you?" Just being like,
Yeah. Waking up from being choked out is disorienting as fuck because you're suddenly on the floor, but you pretty quick
It's time travel.
you pretty quick come to your senses.
Yeah. What have you pretty quickly come around to hating today?
When you can solve all your problems, Isaac, with the power of friendship. Or
G.I. Joe.
Joe.
Wait, no, that's not right. Captain Planet. Wait, no, that's not right. Scooby-Doo. Well. Anyway, you were saying.
It's whoo. Listen, if you're playing a G-rated cartoon geared at 6-year-olds, sure, you get a pass. You know, if you're not, as a lot of things don't, what the fuck are you doing? Like, the power of friendship makes for some of the cheesiest, most bullshit Deus Ex moments in fucking anything. Like, listen, if we're going against the big bad guy and we're in this coalition together, what were we fucking not working together initially? What happened? Like, why is it always this is saved till the end? Like, if you have the Deus Ex in your pocket and all you fucks have to do is hold hands, why don't we lead with that?
Yeah.
Like,
I think the only one of these that actually works and like is a good, but it's also playing with the form, is the end of oh, what is it? Guardians of the Galaxy, where it's like it's the power of friendship, but it's also the power of like energy distribution.
I would say it's sharing the burden.
Yeah.
And sure. But also, they didn't have the fucking Infinity Stone the whole time.
No, yeah, no,
Yeah.
again, they're very much playing with the form, but yeah, it's like the whole power of friendship thing. It's just like, you motherfucker, like, that is up there with it. It was all a dream to me. It's like, oh, eat shit and die. I'm like, no, especially when they do it. Again, G, sometimes PG, when they're playing with morality is law and morality gives superpowers. You know, when you do the right thing, you get rewarded. When you do the bad thing, you get punished. When you're in that kind of world, in quotes, fine. But when you're in the world where you're making laws in your universe that are based on reality or realism, or, you know, A equals B, and then the power of friendship supersedes, I'm like, then you just, like something else you're going to hear later on, you just did away with all the good that you've set up.
Yeah. You
Bah!
just undo continuity. And you're just creating a Deus Ex that you can then reactivate whenever you want.
Yep.
Boo.
Boo, I need Testa Burger.
What else do I need to boo?
Couples never having middays.
I have
This is
hoping you
kinda
just stop at couples. Just bastards.
Motherfuckers. Not having sex with the rest of us. What the hell? So, couples never having middays. It's always perfect. Oh, you're the best. Occasionally a hint, and then nearly divorced. There is no like they're like bipolar relationships. They're like either we're having the best day of our life, or you know hell's come early. It's like there are like one of my favorite shows that I really wish Aziz was involved with season 3 is Master of None, and he's this great episode in season 2. He's really infatuated with this girl. They've been having a great time, and he thinks he really likes her. And it's like a problem because she's in a relationship with somebody else. It's a very cool circumstance. And Aziz is talking to, I can't remember the name of the character, but it's played by the guy, or it's played by H. John Benjamin. And they're talking about, he's like, how would you rate her? Like, H-John says, and Aziz is like, like a 10, maybe an 11. He's like, the fuck? He's like, well, how do you rate your wife? He's like, oh, like a 6. He's like, what? He's like, do you love her? That's your wife. He goes, yeah, I love her. I'll never leave her. But, she's not always, like, she's sometimes a 10. A lot of times she's like a 5. It's just like, you can't always be at 100%.
No.
You don't always, like, as someone who's, you've been married for, how long have you been married for? Hot minute, right? Like,
I've been married 9 years and change.
Yeah, like I was gonna say, coming up on 10.
Yep.
And, like, I'm sure there are, like, by saying I'm sure, I've seen the days that you are like, huh. Like, they exist.
Oh,
but
yeah. Like,
there's not a lot of days where you're like, I don't know, man, one more thing and I'm just going to the courthouse. Like, you're not, like, on the precipice of, like, breaking
I
things.
mean, like, there's definitely days, like, to quote our mother, there's days where shit hits the fan, but, like, that's not every day. And it's not every day where, like, bust out the rose petals and candles. Like, you don't do that shit daily, because it's exhausting in either one way or the other. Like there's... That's not how relationships work. Like, for God's sake, even people who, like, dream about the overt kinky relationship kind of thing, that would be exhausting too. Like,
I fucking hate seeing that online. That's an online thing versus a written thing, but the amount of people are like, yeah, I like to fuck like twice a day. I'm like, call. No, you don't. Unless you're a porn star. No, you fucking don't.
I'm sure you do for about 3 days.
Yeah. Then, after week 1, you're like, all right,
like,
need
my
a month
fucking
off.
hips hurt. Like, Jesus. My dick is chafing. Oh my God.
My dick is chafing.
Like, it just, there are days, like, at a certain point, you want to get the fuck away from that person. Like, you want to do your own shit. You just don't want to talk to them constantly. There's those weird outliers where people, like, lovey-dovey constantly. Fuck those people. They're not human. Like, no, you're absolutely right. There are days they're just mid because nothing unique happens. There are so many days that are just fucking average. Like, I will go to work, I will come home, I'll play some video games. Maybe around 9 or 10, we'll watch a show together. I'll probably fall asleep first because I wake up earlier than her. And that's a wrap, folks. That is a very fucking common day. It's not bad. It's not great. It's just a fucking Tuesday.
Also, people, not every... I was surprised to learn that there are more people than I expected, but there are plenty of people that don't sleep cuddled together. Stop it. You can sleep back to back. You can sleep in the same bed next to each other and love each other completely. But this whole thing of like, couples like sleep intertwined. Fucking no, they don't. I know as many, if not more, that don't than do.
I would say I'm one of the ones who does because my wife will literally grab me like a blanket and drag me.
Yeah, doesn't do it by choice.
I have so many half memories of like sort of coming to. Because she'll come into bed later than me and, like, grab my arm and just pull me over her body. Just like...
It needs a weighted blanket.
Yeah, exactly. Like, come, husband blanket. Employ your services. Like... I have been conditioned at this point. 10 years in, she has broken me.
Just casually. Like our next subject.
Here we go, boys. Here comes the rant. It's early. We're firing from the hip. If people die, leave them in the fucking ground.
This is just a good rule of life.
Good rule of life. Don't do some fucking don't do some monkey paw bullshit.
Don't do some necrophilia nonsense.
That too. Not where my brain was going, but God bless you. But there's too many. They're like, I think one of my favorite YouTube videos ever is about the death and resurrection of Superman, and how it forever broke comic books. When you can fucking casually resurrect people, when that is just a commonplace fucking occurrence in your universe, what's the fucking penalties? Like, there. To be fair, there are ways you can do it. There's like social fallout and shit like that. The problem is that most of the worlds where you can just casually fucking commit necromancy, that's not the problem. The problem is there's a war going on, or some shit, right? And when you can just go, boop, oh, Eli is alive again after taking a bullet through the fucking face. What is the consequences? Why do we do this for everybody? What did it cost you? $500? Get some millionaire patron. We could just resurrect a whole neighborhood. Like, what's... There's so many horrible continuity errors that crop up the second you make it something that someone can just do willy-nilly, or if you're just casually creating methodologies to do it. Like, if you create...
It's the mortality equivalency of the time turner. The second that gets introduced, it's like, well, why don't they...
Yeah, there's so many...
infinite loophole.
Yeah, there's so many just issues that arise. And like, the other thing, too, is if you go, oh, well, it's, it's hard, or whatever, like, it's a limited resource. If you create a secondary method for it, fuck you, no, it's not. You're just making shit up. Like, because I've seen that, too, and I wish I had an example prepared. But, like, if you kill somebody, resurrect them because one Deus Ex, kill someone else, resurrect them because a different Deus Ex, fuck you, where's the Acme factory? What is this? Like,
where's the Acme factory?
You're gonna kill people, leave it, like, you get one. Like, you maybe get one you can bring back, leave everyone else dead. Like, there is, if for no other reason, there is a certain amount of wonderful threat that comes in when you're willing to glass people. Like, it's great. Which that sounds really weird, but like the whole Stephen King idea of murder your darlings, it adds so much weight.
Yep.
Like, do we get to live through this? I don't know. Like,
it's kind of like, not to, everything comes back to economics. I wish it didn't. I should have an economics degree with how much I quote this kind of shit, because I know very little. But it's an economical occurrence. You need value to be displaced for value to have meaning. So if you're constantly bringing people back, then death has no meaning, which is like the biggest thing that you can dole out.
Yeah.
So by removing that from the equation, removing that from value, like, what can you possibly do to your characters? You can't make... It's hard to make somebody feel something when... And I love Lord of the Rings, but, like, with Gandalf coming back, it's like, oh, wait. So, like, basically there's plot armor for any character, most likely, here. Like, it's... I mean, a bummer that Boromir died.
Boromir. You were played by Sean Bean. You're fucked.
You're fucking dead. I mean, it's just like, when you do that, it's like, okay, I don't... nothing has any meaning anymore. Even if they don't get back, there's always that thought you do. So until it's like credits roll on the series, you're still like, yeah, they could come back at any point. Or, in fanfic, it's very reasonable for them to get, like, brought back to life. So it's kind of like, it doesn't matter anymore. But, like, when you look at sans the one character, or I guess it's two characters, Vomit, in Game of Thrones that just, like, get to come back for fucking reasons. It's, when somebody dies, they die, and so you, like, felt it. And it was like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
That hurt. My guy is no longer.
Yeah. Like, make it count.
Yeah.
What else are we making count?
Oh, we making it count in decibels, bruh. Shooting without ear protection and then immediately having a conversation, especially in closed rooms.
Guns are loud, in case you didn't know.
They're fucking loud. Literally, I went to the shooting range with some friends of ours in Vegas, went shooting inside. I could feel when somebody was shooting in the room. The pressure changed. This is a big room. I could feel... I wasn't standing behind them. I wasn't standing particularly close. When they shot that shotgun, I could feel it in my chest. It was freaky. I had 2 pieces of hearing protection on, and it was still quite loud. Now, all these scenes in movies, and I sort of understand why they do this. It's for, like, that glib comic delivery. But they just have people shooting left, right, and center. Even in the hyper-realistic movies like Saving Private Ryan and stuff like that, I can only think of one movie where it's treated with any kind of attention. And it's like they have to go way overboard for it to be even noticed, which is Black Hawk Down. And Block Crackdown's the only one I can think of off the top of my head where there is some cost to shooting. And it's a guy shoots like a 50 cal machine gun on top of a guy's head. And the guy's deafened only in one ear though. It's like, I mean, a million other problems, but also no. But it's still just like, that's the closest we've gotten. So much of it. It's like, can we have a scene where people use some amount of hearing protection, or at least are like, I mean, they do it in Archer in like, as a bit, and it's kind of funny, but it's also just true. Mop. But it's really funny that they only do it in couple scenes when they're constantly shooting guns around each other without hearing protection.
Yeah.
And like, they don't have a problem, which is a little bizarre, but it's like, it's not a thing. This is something that needs to be done occasionally, and I'm surprised it's not done in Wick at all, because he doesn't have a reason to like need to hear shit. He could like be wearing ear protection in a lot of those fight scenes. It's not like he's having conversations afterwards.
It's true.
They're all dead.
Keanu's half of his script is just grunting.
Yeah, and I am here for it.
Yep.
God bless you.
I've heard the fourth one is super good. I am actually very excited.
Have we heard any of them being not good?
I mean, some people were...
A friend posted that the other day. They're
some
like...
people were a bit mid on the third one. It's a bit slow. Like, it's a bit slow.
Yeah. I'd only seen like the first two, and I was like, people like, ah, man, the fourth one comes back. I was like, I didn't even hear anything bad about the third one. It's it's like saying, hey, newsflash, chocolate, pretty fucking great. Was it not at some point? Did I miss something?
I mean, if the first two are A's, let's say, the second one's like a B minus, or the third one's like a B minus.
Wow, that much of a departure. Okay.
It's a bit of a step down. It's still good. It's still amusing.
Still Wick.
It's still John Wick. It's still Keanu Reeves killing people, but it's not as good.
Yeah. Oh, I'm glad to hear the fourth one kind of stepped the game up then.
I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard good things. So
Samesies.
I'm hype.
Speaking of hype, that doesn't track.
No, that's the opposite.
Next. How about that?
Seamless transition. All right. Woo! So I hate when you have people willing to just fucking abandon ideals. Like humans are when you get set in a train of thinking, you don't just fucking dip away because someone presents an argument to you. You're not like, holy shit. Like, epiphanies are notable because they are rare.
Mm-hmm.
So,
if you need a real-life realization of this, just look at, I don't know, anybody on the far left or far right.
Yeah.
When being presented with data.
Yeah.
Conclusive data still doesn't shake them.
You will do mental gymnastics to keep your view of things intact. And don't feel bad about it. Everyone fucking does it.
Yeah, human condition.
Like, no one is exceptional. We all do the same shit. Moving on. Where it's a problem is when you have people who have been, especially when they've been motivated by something for a long fucking time, just drop the hat, swap. Easy.
Martha.
Yeah, I even subtitled this The Martha Moment, because in Batman v Superman, Batman operates the entire fucking movie under this presumption that the sheer existence of Superman poses an indeterminate threat, which is a semi-coherent argument. Just because the off chance Superman turns on humanity, who the fuck's gonna stop him? Fair. So when he fucking stops, he has Superman against the ropes. He literally has a kryptonite fucking spear to his chest. And he just stops because oh shit, he has a mother. What? Huh? And another recent example I was clowning on earlier is I've been playing the Diablo 4 beta because it's been more enjoyable than I thought it was, but it has this kind of goofy writing issue that keeps happening where people just abandon, like, religious zeal to join Lilith, the main antagonist. And one person basically sells out her daughter, like, within 2 sentences. She's like, I should get back to my child. And Lilith, the main antagonist, is like, but she wanted information, and I can give it to you. She's like, well, my daughter will be fine. It's like, like, bruh, what? What? Like, it's so goofy. Like there's not even like a change of tone for the character. There's no sound of like defeat or anything. They're just like, well, when you put it like that, like, Jesus Christ, where's your fucking balls? Have some backbone. One of the to extend an olive branch, one of the best examples of a good change was probably that I can think of is like from The Way of Kings, the first of the Stormlight Archives, because it spends 500 fucking pages building to this moment where one of the main characters changes his disposition because it's been weighing on him over and over and over and over again, and there's this one instance where he can be the better guy, and he chooses to, at tremendous risk for him and his own people. But he knows that somebody fucking should.
Yeah.
So he does. But it's
like
not a fucking out of nowhere decision. Yeah. It's been building.
Like, I'm currently been writing a lot for Magician's Academy, and there's this situation that I realized while just writing it of just like realistic troubleshooting where these kids run away from society and they need food. They can't be seen, but their leader doesn't want to steal. But the reality is that's the only option they have. They can't work a job, they don't have any money, but they need to eat.
Yeah.
And it takes 3 episodes of occasionally nagging, talking about it for her to finally yield to logic. And it's only because she's hungry that she finally is willing to kind of like step away from her moralistic pulpit.
Yeah.
It's like, and it takes 3 episodes. And I think that's realistic.
Yeah.
And I think that's fair.
I'm going to say starvation will fucking sway people. Like,
well, not only that, but just like to take that long as opposed to be flippant about it. It's like, it doesn't feel good, and it's also just not realistic. No. Most people aren't willing to like snap change, even if it's logical.
Yeah.
Just because we are such emotional creatures.
No, we are. I agreed. There's this weird interview I remember hearing where someone talked about starving. He's like, people will abandon God if they're starving. Yeah. It's like, holy shit. It was a heavy fucking interview.
Yeah. He's not wrong.
Yeah, it was just, oh. All right, what do you got next? What needs to change?
Sleep time.
Sleep time tea.
Chloroform. Chloroform and tranquilizers in movies are used, and this is a personal thing. I don't think a lot of people notice this, most of this list is personal. But with chloroform and tranquilizers, what I didn't know and found out now, can't look at the things the same way, so you're about to be in the same boat unless you want to skip ahead. Chloroform and tranquilizers are based on weight and time. Chloroform is something that will dissipate quickly, so it needs to be put on the rag and then on the person, so you can't leave it on a rag and then use it.
Yeah.
And tranquilizers, and both of these, you need to dole out the right amount. Too much, they die. Too little, they look at you confused. Tranquilizers especially, you have to know what your hunting's weight. Tranquilizers do not work if you don't get their weight down right to, I think, in humans, about like a 10-pound radius. You need to get within like 10 pounds of their actual weight.
Rage, by the way, it's not a circle.
Sorry. Yeah, whatever. But like in chloroform, I believe also has like a weight component to it. I think it is different per like kind of like weight class. So like you can't, if you put too much, they're not coming back from that nap, and if you put too little, they're not taking that nap. And so oftenly it's just like tranquilizer is used for everybody. Like the guy has a tranq gun and he's not resetting it here and there, he's just shooting it willy-nilly and everybody's taking a nap. You're not fucking what's her name from Overwatch. You don't get just to have this like tranq gun.
You're not Anna.
Yeah, you're not Anna from fucking Overwatch. You can't just like just knock people out. It's not how that shit works.
The same tranquilizer that would knock out Roadhog would just kill anybody else.
Save Reinhardt.
I say save Reinhardt and Winston, because they're both basically just gorillas in armor. Yeah.
One's a German gorilla. One's a gorilla.
Yeah. One's just gorilla.
Gorilla.
I'm gonna say, but you fucking hit Mercy with the amount of tranquilizer required to knock out one of those.
Lord have mercy on her soul, because she's saying Jesus.
Her heart is stopping. Like, she ain't coming back.
There's no res for that bitch.
No. Yeah, because you just effectively OD'd her ass. Like,
yeah. That sweet tranquilizer darts.
And the dart monkey on me back.
You had another deep cut.
Why you always got to be such a bitch? and make me a fucking sandwich.
Before we go too far down that rabbit hole,
Yeah,
what's next on your list?
We've been gone for a while.
Yeah.
All right. So I talked about the Martha moment. Martha moment. Don't make it a movement, please. I
You
gotta
can
talk
make a
about.
religion out of this.
I gotta talk about Stormtrooper syndrome,
Woo!
which is either you can't fucking hit shit or you can't miss. Like the truth is, I think it was Colton was quoting me that, like, in combat situations, it's like maybe 5% accuracy.
Yep.
Like, God, my cat. I don't know if you can.
The cat's meow accuracy is well above 5%.
Yeah. Sounds like we're torturing him. We're not. I promise. He just wants to play. Anyway. Most people miss in combat fire, especially because you don't posture up, expose yourself, and like target identify. No, like you fucking just covering fire is a thing for a good reason. Because if I just shoot at you, I'm not hitting you, but there's the threat that a stray bullet hits you. So like even some of the best marksmen in the world, if they're in an active combat situation, they fucking miss constantly.
Yep.
Like, if you're somebody on a roof a block over and have the time to line up a shot, yeah, you don't miss. But that's because you're not in an active combat.
Not as much, anyway.
Sure. But, like, sharpshooters, I think, have a crazy high rate. Like, military-trained sharpshooters have crazy high accuracy rates. Because that is their entire job.
Yeah.
Like, but if you're just some fucking infantry grunt, you're going to miss a lot. Like, even if you're a terrific shot on a shooting range, you're just going to miss a lot. Because there's a lot of shit happening.
Yeah. I think it's the what Marines are taught, given the History Channel and what I know of it, is that more bullets downrange equals a win.
Yes.
Like, aiming matters, but more bullets matters a lot more. Like, if you're shooting slow and you have a 7% accuracy and I'm shooting fast and have a 4% accuracy, I'm going to kill you.
Yeah.
Because I'm just going to put twice as many bullets down range, and then
accuracy
my accuracy
by
becomes
volume.
8%. Yeah, exactly. Accuracy by volume.
Yeah.
There's a couple great movies. Way of the Gun is a good one, where characters are kind of accurate, but they also just empty fucking mags. They're not like, oh, it's to get a good shot. They're like, nope, brat, brat, and just like reload, cover, rinse, repeat. And it's like, yeah, that's the way it is. Yep. There's nothing wrong with being a sharpshooter, and there's nothing wrong with missing, but it's, again, kind of like the relationship thing of it being 100% or 0%. It's like, can we get somewhere in the middle? Can we get wings? Have them wing the guy. Like, I don't, like, you can make them limp with a wing, and it's totally fine. Like, if Stormtroopers were winging Luke and Leia, we wouldn't have thought less of them, of either of them. We would have been like, all right, cool, it's a more believable fight as opposed to miss, kill all of them. All right, cool, let's, move on to the next room. It's like, what mode is this on? Like, kindergarten easy? What the fuck?
Yeah. And as much as I do love, like, John Wick and the gun fu, yeah.
Yeah, it's that is definitely the weakest part of it. But I mean, he is also supposed to be like
God's
the Baba Yaga
murder.
of the And lastly, as we put a bow on this, my biggest pet peeve, to get sexy with it, is there's no cleanup or prep before any sexual act that happens in any movie.
Bro, your poor sheets.
Yeah, your poor sheets, your poor fucking butthole, your poor vagina. It's like, people be like, stairwell, let's get it on. It's like, man, I hope you are like...
Were you steam cleaning the carpet? Like,
I mean, that too, but like, how... I'm not going to use the M word for some listeners out there, but like, how much are you revving her engine that you're going in with like no, prep work? You're just like, all right, we're on a stairwell. I've been like looking into your eyes and gave you one kiss. You're lubed up and ready to go. It's like, no, probably not. Not in any of my experience are they good to go. Get down there and give her some tongue work. Sing her a song. Give her the ABCs. Do something. But it's just like, oh, they're good to go. It's like, I mean, they do this random aside. They do this important too. It's like, can you show like some prep? Give them a little work. Like, if porn's doing it and you're not, like, porn shouldn't be setting sexual expectations for how reality works out. That's not their job, but they're doing a way better job than all of our fucking movies.
At least being a little more authentic.
Yeah. Get down there. Do some work.
Also, just, yeah, especially the no cleanup afterward.
Oh, the cleanup afterwards is heinous. Like, all right, time to go to work, and they both leave the room. I'm like, that thing is gonna reek when you come home.
It's like, you just, like, all right, I didn't see that buddy pull out the Trojan, man. So, ma'am, you just put your panties on a mess. Like,
it's just gonna be walking around just seeping all day.
every step.
Mom making macaroni.
Like, I just, like, I mean, listen, if you're into that, you're into that. But, like, let's not, like, I don't know. As a guy, again, guys, I've done this with the same person for over a decade at this point. Nah, man, don't fucking wipe that shit up. Like, also, as a guy who cleans the sheets, I do the laundry. Just do yourself a favor. Shit stains. Like,
wait, shit stains or shit stains?
Yes.
Comma there?
Both work. You know what I meant. Like, be nice to your clothing. Be nice to your bed sheets. Just wipe up. It's easy. And yeah, it is absolutely fucking goofy that it just fucking bite the pillow. We're going in raw. Like, oh my god. Like, you know, maybe they've been sitting on it and squirming and they're good to go. Or you're getting sandpapered. Like, yeah, like, I mean, we joked earlier about my dick is chafing. Well, there's a surefire way to make it happen.
Yeah, it's really funny talking to gay friends of mine when they watch like gay movies. They're like, nah. They just like, those scenes are like, we like that we're getting representation. We'd like if somebody did a modicum of research, because people are like, yeah, a little lick on the hand, let's go. They're like, no.
Like, spit lube? No.
Yeah. I mean, like, it makes sense if it's your first time. Like, if it's like two, virgins that are just like exploring each other, sure. But
and
like,
it would also
when
make
it's
sense
like,
if they went, "Ow, Jesus, stop it!" Like,
yeah, like, did you bring lube? No. Okay, let's go get some of that. Like, there's no like there.
Also, I gotta call this one out too. Shower sex is miserable.
Same with beach sex.
I haven't tried that one to confirm or deny, but shower sex is garbage. Like, water is not a lubricant.
No.
In fact, it does the opposite, and it strips that away from you. So, you might have started wet, but the water says, let me take care of that for you, boss. Also, standing is just awkward, especially if you're the same height, or there's, yeah.
Unless you're, like, jacked.
Yeah, unless...
That idea of, like, she'll ride me like a jungle gym. Yeah. It's like, no.
Guess what? Shower floors are slippery. So trying to support another human being and, like, you have to, like...
all die?
Yeah, you have to, like, splay your legs out like you're a fucking piece of architecture. Like you're a fucking saw table. You gotta, like, pop. Like, you know in Home Alone where Marv is trying to get up on the ice and he just, like, slaps his legs to the side? Like, you do that. Like, shower sex is the dumbest and worst experience ever.
Yeah.
Like, God. And movies make it, like, so seamless. I'm like, fuck no. It's not how that works.
No, it's not. But to make this podcast work, we're going to send it to our first ad break. So, see you in a bit.
Have you ever wanted to feel some mainstream appeal as a nerd? Have you wanted to indulge in a little bit of power fantasy? Do you love when the good guy wins in the end, and most things wrap up with a nice little bow on top? Might I interest you in some comic book movies? With them tasty comic book movies, you get the first grade moral lessons with explosions and punches, punctuation to emphasize. Add in some clear expectations of who's your villain versus who is our hero, and you found yourself a winning formula that will undoubtedly appeal to the masses. So what are you waiting for? Go embark on that hero's journey to get the MacGuffin. It's coming to a theater near you this summer. And welcome back, folks. Isaac, my man. What you been working on?
My man.
My man.
So interestingly, looking good. So my pitch this week is
Slow down.
Perfect Man. So it kind of comes from this idea, and I'm sure it's been played with before, of Perfect Man probably running for some kind of political office and seemingly doing amazing things. And
Sure.
you have one person who's like, he's sus, I don't trust him. And he looks into his bags, does a bunch of digging and finds out that he is either an alien and or eats babies or something like that. Horrible. However, this entity has revolutionized their society in hyper positive ways. And so the point of this piece is to postulate how many babies does it take to fix society? Like at what point? Because there is a cost difference.
It's a weird blood-soaked calculus. I like it.
Yeah. There's got to be a cost benefit analysis. Anybody that's not willing to, kind of think about that, don't listen to this podcast. That's half the shit we talk about. But I mean, like, for instance, if a deity came down and gave world peace, solved all the issues, fixed the economy, and to do so had to eat one child.
Yeah, we could kill a kid.
Yeah, we can kill a kid to save the planet. Like, and everybody's like, no, we can't. All right, you're sentencing millions to death, and shut up.
Yeah,
you just don't know how math works.
There's a great thing. I think it's in Mr. Robot where I heard it. Someone's like, woman at a bar gets offered $1 million to have sex with a guy, and she thinks about it and goes, yeah, for $1 million, yeah. He's like, all right, how about $1? She goes, what? It's outrageous. What kind of woman do you think I am? He's like, no, we established that. Now we're just negotiating.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I have this thing that I talked with our dad about, this idea that everybody's a whore, they just don't know what their price is yet.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely true. I think even society, it's like 20 kids, fix the economy. Huh?
Yeah.
Like, no, we probably need to hit 4 digits before I'm willing to, like, balk. Like, listen, we have kids die in mass shootings daily. Fuck it. What's a few more?
I mean, also, like, the weird one
Jesus
is
Christ, I'm
that...
callous at 8:30 in the morning. Holy fuck.
Well, I mean, I think you're right also, but if you look at the economy, for each time unemployment changes 1%, a large amount of people will die, statistically. It's just a fact that, like, I think it's the change in 1% is, like, hundreds of deaths, like, nationally. Just because, and it makes sense, like, when people are out of work, they are likely to turn to crime. They are likely to be homeless. When you're homeless, you're likely to get disease. You're likely to get sick. You're likely to not have healthcare. You're likely to die. It has a ripple effect that
Suicide,
is very, it's very palatable. So it's like, if you could make everybody employed at the cost of a kid, at the cost of a classroom of kids, God, I'm not advocating this by any means. I'd love it if it cost 0 children. But, if it did, it is cost effective. Yeah. It is morally awkward, but it is cost effective, and it is something that a government should and would likely do.
Huh.
Anyway, that's one of the kind of, like, fun, take a idea, and shove it in there. And it would be the kind of ending thing, sort of like how I kind of stole or remolded this idea from the end of Watchmen, where it's like, yeah, I killed, a couple million people to save 1 billion.
Yeah.
I'm a bad guy, but I saved us.
Just because I am bad guy does not mean I am bad guy.
What about you? What you got schmoldering the old noggin?
Kind of the flip side of this is if you were king for a day, like, so, the whole thing of, like, if I was king for a day, I'd do whatever the fuck. And I feel like there's a lot of shit people suggest and don't think about the ramifications of. It's okay, like, if you made somebody king for a day, and just whatever came out of their crazy ass mouth was just written into law on the spot. What would the long-standing repercussions of that shit be? Like, because there's so many things that we talk about in these complete vacuums. Like, we don't think about consequences. Like, easy example in the U.S. is the idea of gun control. Like, it's so polarized, right? Like, it's take away all the guns or give everybody put a gun in everybody's hand. Like, what if someone suggested that? It's just like everybody needs to have a gun at all times. That would be my America or some shit.
Yeah.
And that is a law now. Everyone has to walk around with a firearm.
And it can't be repealed.
Yeah, like it is this.
Kingdoms.
It is fucking hard printed into the Constitution. Just boom, everybody has to have a gun at all times. Like, what the fuck does that do? like drugs aren't illegal anymore. Boom, law. Like anything for 24 hours. Whatever this mope suggests is just canon to the country because you were king.
Yeah.
It's what the fuck, 2 weeks later, are you just like, oh my god, what have I done? Like, so I'm curious, like, I'm wondering, because I feel like there's a couple weird ways you could take it and just point out crazy moralistic flaws with everything. Like, I think the obvious one that I'd probably lean into is, like, why arming everybody isn't good. Yeah. But also there's, like, maybe why just carte blanche giving everybody access to drugs maybe isn't the best either.
Sure.
I think there's a lot of ways you could take it, or just like the silly things that people would suggest and just not thinking about how contextual that stuff really matters to be. So, what do you got as a recommendation for people?
I have the coolest thing that I just came across. It's a little short film. You can find it on YouTube. The link will be included. If you just type into YouTube Hidari, Hidari, it's like about 5 minutes. It's this stop motion Japanese woodblock in the milieu of like anime samurai fighting, and it is fucking awesome. I cannot recommend this highly enough. Take 5 minutes after this is over here in a second and just enjoy the hell out of it. It slaps so hard and looks like it was so well painstakingly made. I can't. And it somehow has like, I think when I first saw it, I think it's like picking up a lot of steam. But when I first saw it, I think it only had like a couple 100,000 views. It was really light. It's so fucking great.
Right, it looks like it's existed 2 weeks and has 430,000 views.
Yeah. But like it deserves all of them and infinitely more, in my opinion. Check it out. Help it get to 1 million. What about you?
This is a bit of a throwback, but I have the first 2 seasons of a show to recommend. It will be Hannibal. I forget who the director was, but it's the show that has Mads Mikkelsen.
Yep.
The
Mads Mikkelsen, Lawrence Fishburne.
I forget who plays the main character, the detective.
I don't really remember either. He's pretty forgettable.
Kind of. I mean, he's kind of supposed to be in a way.
Yeah.
Anyway, the show is crazy, and I can't believe that they fucking showed some of that shit on network television. It is, the first 2 seasons are phenomenal. I think the cinematography is terrific. The kind of culinary element that they use a lot of is exceptional.
The culinary is
exceptional.
amazing. Like they paid like really good chefs to make that.
And
shit.
Anthony Bourdain talked about it on a podcast and was like, "Yeah, no, it's all perfect."
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's like, "I can't nitpick it. It's perfect." It's just like, whoa, like,
yeah.
You don't hear that from a profession in any industry ever talking about like stuff being represented.
Especially him. He was more than happy to throw shit under the rug when it was crap. Like he threw shade at his own workers when they were like, "We're like rock stars." He's like, "No, we're fucking not." like the guy had like a television career, traveled the world, and at the idea of being called a rock star, he like immediately poo-pooed it.
Yeah.
So like the guy had no problem throwing shade.
Yeah. No, none whatsoever. He's like, "No, it's perfect." Just like, whoa. Yeah. And Mads Mikkelsen is awesome.
As
like,
always.
The cast chemistry is terrific. Mads Mikkelsen is obnoxiously sexy. There's something about him, and I don't get it. Like, stop.
He's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
He's like the Danish fucking Pedro Pascal. I'll call him daddy.
Yeah, no, you know what? I can't punch a hole in that. I can't. It makes me uncomfortable. Anyway, first 2 seasons are outstanding. The 3rd season fucking forgets what the word continuity is and kind of goes everywhere, which is really unfortunate because it left such a bad taste in what was otherwise a delicious dish. So, but yeah, I the first 2 seasons, you can watch them well enough on their own, and they kind of stand independently if you just want to forget the 3rd season exists. But especially the 1st season. Oh, magnifique. So, you got any earworms for people before we go, Isaac?
Yeah, so a student of mine introduced me to this song called Anadrol by the band Yosef. Anadrol. Band is Yosuf. So it is this really weird 2-minute like pump up EDM track.
Sure.
That features, I don't remember his name, but he's like the 8-time world like it's not strongman, bodybuilding champion. It's this black guy whose name I can't remember, but he has this thing that he likes to do before lifting. It's really fucking funny, especially when you hear him say it. But right before lifting, he'll go lightweight, and like to trick his mind into thinking that whatever he's about to pick up is not heavy, and so he can easily do it. Because it turns out that works. It works a lot. It works a lot in real life and other aspects. If you can convince yourself and use a phrase and use it correctly in circumstances like that, it works really well. And the guy said it's like one of the only things that's said in this is like, you know, a bunch of pump and EDM, and then be like, he'll cut to the feature and he goes, yeah, buddy, lightweight, and then just it's so great, and I've been using it to pump myself up before each round of a Magic tournament. It's so fire. It's so great. And then it cuts to this interview portion for like 5 seconds at one point, and they're like, what's your biggest fear? This is choice to me. What's your biggest fear? He goes, my biggest fear? Dying skinny. I'm like, oh, this guy gets it. It's so good.
What?
Cannot recommend it enough.
What the fuck?
It's so good. Highly recommend.
All right. Yeah, I can't follow that.
And since he can't follow, I will. That's our episode. Thank you for tuning in. And if you enjoyed this, please feel free to
like,
comment,
share,
and subscribe.
And don't forget, the new episodes of Super Pros Bros come out the 1st and 3rd Saturday of every month.
Bye.
Bye.